Hi, everyone. Happy Monday morning. I am Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and we are back with another Monday morning edition of Beyond the Soundbite, where we talk about all things U.S. immigration. So y'all know I like to dive right in. The first thing, of course, that I'm going to talk about right now on April 1st is H-1B cap season. As we know, there were some very serious technical glitches that happened towards what should have been the end of the registration, causing USCIS to extend the registration date till one more business day through 2.5 more calendar days, so that the registration actually ended last Monday on the 25th at noon. And shortly after that, sort of the middle towards the end of last week, they started to run the lottery. Of course, we didn't get any advance notice of this. We just were checking our My USCIS accounts. So the lottery selections have been rolling in. The last one I received was yesterday on Saturday. Again, USCIS has not told us whether or not they have finished running the lottery. So my colleagues and I are just routinely checking our My USCIS accounts. So we are still waiting for final word from USCIS that they have finished the initial lottery selections. If you registered yourself, I would recommend that you go in and check your My USCIS account. The way that we have been notified this year has not been so uniform. So make sure that you go into your account, check your account and check. Just make sure that you go in and check and make sure you want to check and see if you've been, if your status has changed from submitted to selected. If it has been changed to selected, that means that you were in fact selected in the H-1B lottery and you are now eligible to file your H-1B application. A few things to remember. With this particular H-1B season, if you choose to file your H-1B application using the standard method on paper and then you send it in via mail, they will not link that application to your My USCIS account. So you won't be able to track it through your My USCIS account. And also, if you opt for premium processing for your H-1B application, remember that filing fee went up. And so that filing fee is now $2,805. The next thing I want to talk about this morning is still around H-1B lottery. Every year, there are only 85,000 H-1B new slots available. 20,000 of those are set aside for individuals who received a master's degree from a U.S. university. So that's a very small number in comparison to the total number of individuals that enter the lottery. So what that means is that there are many people that do not get selected in the lottery. I have colleagues who have clients who have entered the lottery, several years in a row and were never selected. So what do we do with those folks? So I want to spend a little bit of time this morning talking about Plan B. If you haven't already thought about your Plan B, i.e. what happens if you don't get selected in the H-1B lottery, now that they've started running the lottery, if you're not one of those folks that has been selected as of now, and if you haven't started thinking about a Plan B, now is the time to really do that. And so your Plan B could look like a couple of different things. For some people, it's going to be continuing as an international student. If you are already an international student, it just means that you continue going to classes. You continue going to classes if you're on curricular practical training. For some folks, they are still in their student status. They've got maybe 1 or 2 more years left of OPT, optional practical training. You'll continue with that OPT. You'll continue working. You'll try to enter the lottery next year. For some folks that may be coming to the end of their OPT, whether that's 1-year OPT or an extended STEM OPT, you may want to go back and pursue another degree at a university here in the States. It can be your same university that you're already at. It can be a different university. That is also an option for you, or it could be an option for you. You'll have to check with the school, you'll have to apply just like any other student, but it could be an option for you that you want to explore. Sometimes individuals are, they are qualified for more than one visa category, but for various different strategy reasons, maybe we've decided that the H-1B was, maybe their best bet, or maybe something that we wanted to pursue. And if we got that, great. If we didn't, then we would move to Plan B, which would be another visa category. So you want to see, maybe you were eligible for another visa category. I just finished having that conversation with a client who they were qualified to enter the H-1B lottery. We entered them into the lottery. Thus far, they have not actually been chosen in the lottery, but they were eligible for a different visa category, which they have since been approved for. So we try to, let people know what all their options are, and, based on your individual situation, what we think is best. For some folks, it might be buying in or investing in a U.S. business. That could be another option. And unfortunately, there are people, their only option is going to be returning home. I have that conversation every single CAP season. It doesn't get easier. It's not an easy nor pleasant conversation to have, but sometimes that is your only option, is to return home. So I wanted to really go through what some of those options look like, just from a very high level. And again, if you haven't started looking at your Plan B options and you have not been selected in the lottery thus far, now is the time, especially if you're in the United States, to look at your Plan B options. Like, what can you do if you are not actually selected in the lottery? And if you are not selected in the lottery and you're not quite sure what your options are, maybe you entered yourself into the lottery, my office is, we are available to help you, see if we can strategize your Plan B with you. So feel free to reach out to us. The next thing I want to talk to you about this morning is today's April 1. USCIS increased fees go into effect today. So the website should be updated. The USCIS website should be updated with the new fees. So anything that we file today moving forward must have the new fees. In addition to the new fees, there are also going to be new forms, some of which there will be a grace period where you don't have to use them. You can still use the old forms. Some of which you must use the new forms starting today. So you want to make sure that if you're filing something today and onward, you want to make sure that you've got the right fee and the right form addition. So here's my prediction. With the increase in fees, we had some notice about that. My colleagues and I have been rushing to file the cases that we could before the fee increase went into effect today. I suspect, given that my colleagues across the country have been filing like crazy, I suspect we're going to hit a new backlog on many different case types, frankly, if not all case types. Truly, we have been racing to get these applications filed for you all. But I think with that, we're going to see an increased processing time on most cases. And I think we're going to see these backlogs coming back at us. So keep that in mind. That is my prediction. That is my April 1 crystal ball prediction. In terms of the intersection of the H-1B lottery cases that will be filed, as well as the new fees going up, and people just filing as much as they could. The next thing I want to talk about is the Department of State visa renewal pilot program, whereby some folks, a very limited number of people, small sample size of those H-1Bs, were able to renew their visas while staying in the U.S. and not having to make the long trip home for some folks. That was a pilot program. It ran from the end of January till today. And so now Department of State is looking for feedback. So if you used the program, provide them with feedback. Don't be shy. If you use the pilot program, please speak up. Let Department of State know what your experience was. If when they have everything, when they have all the feedback, when they sit down, they really look at the program, they're going to need to figure out whether or not this is a program that they want to extend. Hopefully, if they find that it was a valuable program, they will extend it. If they extend it, hopefully it opens up to more countries. And hopefully, frankly, it opens up to dependents, H4s, so that the entire family, the H1 and the H4s, can have the same expiration date in their visas. So if you use that pilot program from the end of January through today, please provide Department of State feedback. And the last thing I want to talk about you all about this morning is another national interest waiver tip. So we know that national interest waiver is a second preference green card category. It is for individuals that have a master's degree or higher. If you don't have a master's degree or higher, you must show that you have exceptional ability in your field. You also must show that your proposed endeavor, what you want to do here in the U.S., has both substantial merit and national importance to the United States. You also need to show that you, as the beneficiary or the applicant, you are well positioned, that you can do this, whether that be education or experience, but you are well positioned to advance your proposed endeavor. And third, you need to show that on balance, it's really beneficial for the United States to waive their usual second preference category requirements, which are essentially waiving the labor certification application and waiving the requirement that you have an employer sponsor you and that employer advertise for that role. So that is national interest waiver. A question that I recently got was, can we fast track my I-140 national interest waiver application? And the answer is yes, we can fast track it. You can apply for your I-140 national interest waiver using the premium processing program. The processing time will fast track it to 45 business days. So it used to be 45 calendar days. It is now 45 business days. One of the things that the April 1 fee increase rule did was it changed the processing times of premium processing from calendar days to business days. So it essentially gives the agency a little bit longer where they're not running up against weekend days in their count. So absolutely, you can file your national interest waiver, that I-140. You can file it and fast track it. That fast track is called premium processing. And if you use premium processing, the government will give you some sort of response within 45 business days. So hopefully that is helpful for y'all. And that is what I have this Monday morning. Would be on the soundbite. If you have any questions about your immigration matter, if you are an employer and you're not quite sure how to get someone on board that's not a U.S. citizen, feel free to give my office a call, 954-903-1337. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday and a great rest of your week. Bye, everybody.